All right, guys, so today in this video, I'm going to be walking you guys through how I've taken 7 different wholesale companies just with this one strategy, not like all the other companies I've done this year. These total about 14 for the total year, but 7 using this one thing, using this one core pillar. I'm going to walk you guys through the activity of me doing it live for some of our partners that we're actually working with hand in hand, and basically the decisions that we're making from this strategy and like how we're going about increasing their business. So the last person I implemented this with, his name is Devin. He went from $16,000 per month to $132,000 close in the month of June. This is July right now. So June last month, from April to June, he went from $16,000 to $132,000. So really incredible results. And it was literally primarily because of this one thing I'm going to show you guys in this video today. So what is it? You guys are all drooling, asking for basically what it is a deal review. And it's very simple. All we're going to be looking at is the deals that you've ever done in your lifetime, the best deals you've ever done. So I like to do 15 at least. If you have a lot of deals that are better than your average deal size, then like that's what we want to do. And so here's an example of a deal review that I have from one of our clients who's doing about $35K per month. He's when he's coming to us. And I'm literally going through this live to tell him like the next steps of the things he needs to do to go in 2, 3, 4x his business. So like I personally believe that this one thing with this client particularly will double his business like within the next 30 to 40 days. One of the clients that we have who's doing about $35K per month as well, who we're working with that I implemented this last week with them, literally closing their average baseline for the last 6 months is 32,000, I think. It's 31,400, something like that. After implementing the things that I'm going over in this video and a couple other small things this week, we literally implemented last week. So 1 week later, they locked up 65K in projected profit. That's literally a 2x already in just 1 week. So look, again, I'm not saying that this is a fortune, a magic ball, like, an 8 ball is going to make you rich. But what I am saying is that this shit works and that you should pay attention to the video. Because at the end of the day, like, you guys all just want to make more money without spending another dollar. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So listen up, go and do the same shit in your business. And if you don't want to do it, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. But if you don't want to do it for whatever reason, you can just work with us and I'll do it for you. And it will make you tons more money. So, all right, what is this monstrosity that we're looking at? Look, what actually is it? So this is a deal review chart that I have here. So look at this top thing. Is this deal review? And what we do is we look at the addresses, the cities, the counties, the bedrooms, the baths, the square feet, the list, the marketing channel, the cold caller if there was one, the lead manager, the acquisitions manager, and the exit strategy, the gross profit, and the leads to contract. These are the core metrics that I need to know in order to be able to make good decisions, determine our buy box, and what areas work. And so the reason that I came up with this is because about 1.5 years ago, I did this study. We had gone and had like a tough spell. We had closed like 2 months around like 150. And at the time we were doing closer to 300K a month. And I was like, dude, like what the heck is going on? And so I went and did this study. And what I found was that out of the total amount of money in the study that I did, there was 2 scenarios I had. As I had a buy box, like in our buy box properties, and then locations we like. And I had not in our buy box and locations we didn't like. And what I found was that in the buy box side and the locations I like side, so that group, which had been spent, I think we spent like $100,000 on marketing to that group. We had a 7x ROI on that group. Now, if we go to the other group where we spent $70,000 on marketing on that group, where it was not in the buy box and bad locations. Now ask me, why are you spending half your marketing money on that kind of stuff? Well, that's what happens when you grow and you don't pay attention to what's going on. You're not auditing 80/20 all the time. That was our fault. We made a mistake. So when I audited that, what I found was that we broke even. We got a 1x ROI on our money, which means that after paying commissions, paying for software, paying our team, we lost money. We had a negative ROI. We didn't make money on that. And so I was like, dude, that's 70K. I don't remember the time period I looked at it. Maybe it was like 6 months, whatever it was. I immediately looked at it. I was like, dude, let's just cut that. We cut that marketing. And then immediately what happened is we were able to get more appointments. Actually, I take that back. We got the same number of appointments, which I think was about 40 a week at the time. And instead of half of them being bad, 90% of them were good. And so what that meant was that instead of half of our appointments being trash, where our team can't close them because we were also closing the bad appointments, like the bad locations, bad properties at like 3%, like 3% offer to close rate. Horrible. Where we're at like 17 or 18% on the good properties, good locations. So way more efficient. So we went from having appointments being trash that we don't even monetize to almost all of them being good, which we do monetize. And so what that did is it took us from 150 to 250K a month. Immediately, just that one change almost doubled the business. Nothing else. Literally one change. That's it. And that's the exact change we're going to go over right here in this video. So, all right, when I look at this, what do I see? So the first thing I want to do is I want to identify a buy box, and I like to just do bedrooms. I just like to focus on bedrooms. So for me, when I look at this, I say, okay, well, we had one bedroom deal and we had one 5-bedroom deal. These deals were decent, but I almost guarantee you, if you were to look at the effort that we use to get these deals, it would be horrible. So the effort, I almost guarantee you, because I can do the study, I can pull it up and show you guys exactly what I'm talking about, but almost probably never convert these deals. Okay, so if you never convert these deals, why would we keep marketing to it? So we don't. So we would cut this out right away. One beds, 5 beds, cut it out. We only want 2 to 4 bedrooms. And that's exactly what my hunch says. This was like 96% of our revenue when I did the study. This is the buy box. 2 to 4 bedroom houses in most places. Even 4s, I would argue, even 4s should be removed in this scenario because there's only one. Now, the reason I want to leave 4s is because when we go to nicer areas, higher price point areas, and we're doing novations, I want to keep 4 bedrooms in there because those are really good deals. So that's me understanding where we're at, what we should be doing, but that's me defining my buy box. So I'm not going to target anything outside of 2 to 4 bedrooms. Realistically, if I was to really hone it down, I would do only 3 bedrooms. Just being completely honest. Like that, like out of these 15 properties, that's 10 properties. So 67% of all the best deals we've ever done are 3 bedrooms. And if we were to take the average, our average assignment fee for our best 15 deals, we would look and we would see it's $21,700 in the bottom right there. 21,000. Our baseline is 20,000. Now, if we go and look at 2 bedrooms, we're at like 12K. And if we look at 4 bedrooms, we're at 15K. So what that tells me is, hey, 3 bedrooms are the shit, 2 bedrooms are and then 4 bedrooms are but because we're doing MLS strategies, I want to keep them in there for right now. But you could very easily justify only doing 3 bedrooms. I would totally be on board with that if you made that decision. So that's one thing. I want to cut out everything else. So I'm not going to focus on anything else. The next thing is the cities that we're targeting. So here we're targeting counties, is we're targeting the main few counties. So the way that I look at this is I say, okay, well, where do we do like multiple deals? So Chester had 1 deal. Usually I'd see that a lot of times as an outlier, but I honestly see this as a potential opportunity. And the reason I see this as an opportunity is because this is a 39K deal where we only have 1 deal. And to me, what that probably means is that we don't put a lot of energy there, but it's a place where we can probably get outsized returns. So I really like Chester because 1 deal equaling 39K is a really good benefit. So I really like that. That to me, that's way above my baseline. That's 2 times my baseline. For 1 deal, I know, but I want to look at how do we double down there. The other place that I really like is Delaware County. That's 27K. That's a pretty sizable increase. So if I was to say like what kind of increase is this? Now I know this is not like perfect math, but like this is roughly a 35% increase in the business if we were a 36% increase in the business if we were to dial that in. So to do nothing and increase the business 30% by just increasing deal size, it's a pretty beneficial, worthwhile thing. So that's why I really like these 2 areas. And I also think that we could just pump more of these leads in the system and we're going to get more bigger deals. And I would really like to focus a little bit less on Newcastle and Phila, however you say it. And that's just because the places are a little bit lower. They're not as good. But yeah, nonetheless. I also think that if we focus a little bit more on MLS deals, like if we were to look at exit strategy, anything that's MLS or novation, the average deal size is 26, which is a large amount more than the average, versus assignments are 15 or 16, So I also want to really double down in the process on MLS deals. So like when I look at this right now and like my takeaways, so Chandler's takeaways is more deals in Delaware County and Chester, more novations. So we need to get better at the sales process on novations and move down the buy box. These tweaks right here don't sound like much, but they will, like, stacking on top of it, MLS deals being 35% bigger, um, Delaware and Chester being 35, honestly up to like 100% bigger. So let's call it 50% bigger. And then moving down the buy box, which was also a little bit larger. If we just did the buy box than our average, or like right around our average, like those things are going to make us a lot more efficient. So we're going to get a bump in volume because we're going to become more efficient. We're going to need less leads to make the same amount of money because we're limiting our buy box. And then that's going to allow us to bump the amount of deals we do, which is probably going to give us a 20% bump. Then we get a 50% bump on focusing on Delaware and Chester, which a 50% bump takes us from 30K to 45K. A 20% bump on 30K takes us up another, 6K. So now we're at 50K. And then if we just do more innovations, we go from, 50K to a 30% bump as another 10K. So that's to $60,000. So that's a double in the business, a double by just dialing in these few things. And that's all profit. We don't have to spend another dollar to do that. So that's why I like that. That's step one. Step two, if you really want to nail this down and get a little more nitty gritty on it, is, and this is what I have all my clients do, but I want them per county. So I'm going to do this for Delaware, Chester, Newcastle, Phyla, and I'm going to basically have them kind of like determine an ROI metric per area. This is like going to really like allow us to make the decision the right way. So basically, I'm trying to figure out like what's our baseline ROI. I know for these guys, the baseline ROI is like a 7x, right? So our baseline is 7x. It's doing really, really well. But I almost guarantee you, Chester was this one place that we like targeted one time down here in Chester. It's this one place that we targeted one time on a tired landlord list, and it just like, closed in 12 days. It was just a random thing we did, and it worked really well. So if something like that hits, you should do it again. And so what I want to see is like, where do we get an outsized return on our effort? And that's what this will tell us. Everyone should be able to, in their CRM, track their total leads that they got per county, or even at the least per city. And then you can combine it to make a county, get creative. Same thing with appointments. You should be able to track that super easily. You should be able to track contracts, deals, and then the expenses. The way that I track this is like understanding like what's my cost per lead generally. Okay, let's say it's $100. Well, I got 100 leads, so that means I spent 10 grand. Very simple math, but that's generally like how I would look at that, and I would allocate like an expense to it. And then I can see my revenue. So let's just say like for Chester, maybe I got 30 leads. My cost per lead was because it was like, this is voice podcast. I wouldn't recommend everyone do that, but that was what it was. I would imagine the leads are probably like $20 or less. Realistically, they're probably less. So $600, and we made 39K. I bet that's something like what this campaign looked like, and that's probably what we made. We might have got 60 leads and spent 1,200, but nonetheless, that ROI, if I was to do the math on this, is ginormous. That's a 32x. And there's these 32x's hiding everywhere in your business, and it's your job to go and find them and to double down on them. All right, so I was talking to a client yesterday, and he was telling me that he spends 1 week total targeting this one area. So he spends 1 week out of every 6 weeks. Every 6 weeks. So that means he spends about, what is that? 1 divided by 6. He spends 16% of his effort on this one place, right? This is a, small city. Not gonna give the city away because it's, it's a small little honey hole he found, right? So he spends 1 week total for every 6 weeks, which is 16% of his time on this one small city. And every single time he does it, he makes $30,000. Roughly. Obviously, it might be a little bit less, it might be a little bit more sometimes, but that's roughly what it is. He mops up. And that's all he does. Then he has a large metro that he targets, which is one of his core main places, right? And so he spends the other 5 weeks total every 6 weeks, which is, do the math, 5 divided by 6. That's 83% of the time. So he spends almost all the time, and he literally does the exact same thing in that city. He makes $30,000. So basically, he's making about 40 to 50K a month, give or take, 60K a month. These numbers aren't perfect, right? But this is roughly like what the numbers are. He makes the same amount of money in this small city for 1 week's work as he does in the large metro, or for 5 weeks' work. So where do you think is the better return on your effort? It's very obvious. Everyone's going to be like, oh, it's obviously the small city. Okay, so how do you double down on that? Like, why did you not double down? And so we had a whole conversation for 30 minutes. Like, dude, like if mobile homes in this small city are making you so much money, why are you not targeting it more? How do you target it more? Like, how do you go and, like you're texting all the people, but why not call them? Why not mail them? It's only 6,000 records. Why don't you mail them? Why don't you go buy a billboard there? Why don't you go do this? And so what he did is he texted me. He literally is going to buy a billboard for $800 a month. See how it goes. He can buy like 3 of them or something like that for $800 a month. And there's other realtors that he's seen in that city have billboards. So he knows that that's a proven strategy that probably works there. So that's a very easy one. That'll probably get him another deal with that very little effort, very little marketing spend. And so like all we're doing is we're trying to optimize for those little outsized returns. It's like, how do we bump that up to where from every 6 weeks, this produces 30K. How do we make that produce 60K? Because if we can double that and keep this other one the same, then we just see a huge increase in the actual business itself. So if we're able to do this now every 6 weeks, now we're doing 90K every 6 weeks. And so we saw what is that? What is 90K? What is this? 90K divided by 60K. That is a 50% increase in his business. And almost all of that is profit. So the point I'm trying to make to you guys is like, look for like the only way you're going to scale past like really past about $1 million a year is like where you usually get capped at. Is if you find those spots that are those exponential upsides that you can exploit. So you have to create like a huge ROI like in your system because you like the concept is like make this top funnel so big that eventually something's going to stick and it's going to give you a 30x ROI. And the best companies I know, why did that go away? And the best companies I know have been able to figure out how to double, triple, quadruple, 10x down on the 30x ROI and still have it be a 10x. So I asked one of my mentors who does about 30 million a year, exactly like how he would, like what the biggest thing he saw when he went from 7 to 8 figures in his business. And he literally said, everything was just about increasing ROI. And this has been what I've been obsessing over the last little bit is like, how do I take these hidden 30x's and basically put 10 times the effort on it? Maybe take it from spending, 1K a month or 10K a month. And how do I 10X that effort, but only like marginally lose the return? So that means I'm still making way, way more money. And that's what you have to do. So that's what I'd be looking into in your business. I can do this one more time. I want to go through this one because I already made a lot of decisions for this person. And we've already like made tons of tweaks. And there's actually some like really good hidden lessons in this. Like this one thing is like, this is the guy who went from 35K to locking up 65K in 1 week. So like, I know for a fact, like these guys are going to be on pace for 100K a month, like within like the next 30 days. Like it's not a problem. It's not a doubt in my mind. They just need the right tweaks. They already had a team. They're already dialed in. They already knew what they're doing. They already done this business, but they just weren't doing it perfectly. There was like tweaks that they were missing in their business. And that's all we came to do. So biggest things that I did from this person, what we implemented. So essentially, buy box did the same exact thing. Said, hey, 2 to 4 bedrooms. Obviously, this makes sense. This one was a land deal, so that's why it's not got one. And then I went through and I was like, okay, well, like obviously cold call is working, right? So let's keep going on cold call. And basically, the cities that I looked at was very simple. I just said, hey, which cities here are producing counties. Which counties are producing multiple deals? Then I looked at Cumberland. I said, Cumberland, how often do we market to Cumberland? Because Cumberland is producing lots of deals. 2 34Kers. We got a 16.7K deal, and we got a 17K deal. So 2 smaller ones, but 2 also much bigger ones. And if you look at this was also for a hedge fund list, so it totally makes sense. This is probably like a little hotter part of the season, but nonetheless, I was like, that really like caught my eye that this city is doing really, really well. And so what I went to look at, I did all the same things I did with the other person with on this. But the piece that I really went and looked at was I said, hey, like how many records do you have for Cumberland? Because I went and did market research. It's like a great market. It's like 300K price point, median price point, or maybe it's 280. It's 5 days on market, 6 days on market. So super hot, no inventory. It's a fire market. So I was like, well, we should really blow that market's doors off. So they had 35K records, I think, in Cumberland. And I went and looked up like my buy box of like what I would get if I was them, on just like looked on list source. It was like super easy. I saw 70K. I think it was 79K, excuse me, actually. Something like that. So maybe it was 75K. Nonetheless, it was like 40,000 new records. They never contacted, they don't have them in their system. Guaranteed. It was absentee owned, individual owners with equity. 40,000 records. That's double the records they don't have right now. And so they have 6 cold callers that they're all like in a lower price point, like cold callers, whatever. So it's not super expensive. It's only, it's really cheap. But the point being is they could keep 6 cold callers busy with data that they've never contacted before, which means we're going to get more leads than we've ever gotten before in the past, right? Or when you call a list for the first time, you're going to do way better on that list than you've ever done on it before. We're going to get all those leads. We're going to get not only more, but all of those leads are going to be in an area that we freaking can monetize, and like monetize at the highest rate, higher than the baseline. And we also know that if we're doing novations, MLS strategy deals, wholesales, flips, because these guys can do it all, then like it's so easy. Like we want more deals there. So like let's optimize for it. And then the other thing that I found was this county called Forsyth County. And the market was good there as well. Not as good as Cumberland, but the same exact thing happened. We had another 35, 40K records that we could go after where the deals were pretty large, right? So I'm just trying to optimize for like, where are our best deals at and how do we get more of them? And so that's literally all we were looking for. And that's how we're going to double down. So the next thing we're going to do after we do all that, figure out where we have gaps, is we're going to go and do market research for all the other cities here. But I really just want to run campaigns and like target them at places where we really want to buy that are really good, and just maximize for the gaps we have in the business. So hopefully this makes sense for you guys. Hopefully this helps y'all. I think that if you're currently doing 30, 40, 50, $60,000 per month and like feeling stuck, reach out to us. We can definitely help you. If you're doing that amount of money and you have good acquisitions, how to do sales, like, dude, you should be making 100K a month, no problem. Like, as long as you can get a good acquisitions guide in there, remove yourself, like, and you're not making 100K, it's because you're doing something wrong. And I'm just going to be completely honest with you. So hopefully this helps. Go do this in your business. If you want us to do it for you, just click the link down below, book a call with us. But regardless, like, you should be making way more money than you are. And it's just because of things like this that you don't know about or that you aren't doing yet because you haven't like been exposed to it. So hopefully by me exposing this to you, like, you can go and find those 30Xs that you can double, triple, quadruple down on that can feed you for a long time. They can be those big profit centers that make you tons and tons of money. So go make some more money. I will see you guys on their side, and hopefully I can work with you guys soon. Peace.